Hello. How to get a deep voice like mine? It probably sounds like I'm trying to make my voice deeper right now. But I'm legit not. Like, this is my real voice. This is how I speak, right? And if I were to do this, this is making me, this is me making my voice deeper. But this is completely normal, right? Like, the difference between this and this. You know what I'm talking about, bro? So yeah, this is how to make your voice deeper 101. I'm 17 years old. My voice has been this deep for a really long time. Every new friend group I enter is the first thing I get asked. How is your voice this deep? How do you speak like this? Tell me the secrets and I will teach you how to do this. So there's two ways to make your voice deeper, right? The first way is what I like to call down talking. Down talking is basically making the last word of your sentence a little deeper than it actually is. So, take a normal sentence for example. Take, what's the time? Right? A normal person would say, hey, what's the time? Hey, what's the time? Time. Hey, what's the time? Right? You see the pitch on the last word. Time is higher than what's the. Hey, what's the time? It gives off a more feminine tone, right? And the thing is that your brain only, like all the words in your brain, right? They're only sounds from outside. They retain in your brain for like 0.5 seconds as the longest, right? And if the last word of your sentence is deeper than the actual sentence, right? That's what will register last. That's what they'll register. That's what they'll think about more, right? It sounds really wishy-washy and it sounds fake, but that is the truth. Like if I were to say this, Sada, you are focused on this. Why? Because deep voices are attractive, right? They're more attractive, and if I were to say this, at the end it's higher, so you'll focus on that. Why would you focus on that? Because it's at the end, right? It's at the end. That's the last thing you heard. It's natural for you to focus on that. That's why I speak like this. Hey, what's the time? Hey, could you tell me the time? How have you been doing? Nice to know you. Would you like a croissant? How about a date? So yeah, that's called down talking. It's making the last word of your entire sentence a little lower than the actual sentence. It comes up with the effect that your voice is deeper. Now, how to actually make your voice deeper over time? It's called deep talking, which is just making your overall voice a little deeper than it actually is. So if this is how I normally speak, right? Hey, what's going on? My name is Agastya. I study in FIJC Division D. I am a great person, right? This is how I usually speak. I will speak like this. Hey, my name is Agastya. I like to wrestle. I am an MMA enthusiast. I love Alex Pereira. I like how he destroyed Ankalaev in today's match. You see, my voice was around 10 to 20% deeper than it usually is. However, something I wouldn't do is this. Yo, my name is like Agastya. I love Khabib, and he's the best UFC fighter ever. Bro, I love UFC. I've actually trained UFC for 4 years. That's not what I'll do, right? I won't do that. Obviously, like, it's out of place. It sounds funny. It sounds like you're trying to fake it, right? Like, of course, you want a deep voice, but you don't want people to think that you're faking it. That's the beauty of it. You make it a little deeper just so people don't notice it, and integrate this into your everyday life. People won't notice it. The thing is that when I say they won't notice it, is that they won't be able to point it out, right? But their subconscious will notice it. Subconsciously, they'll be like, it's kind of deep. And since it's like not a major difference, it must be natural. Because if it's a major difference, he's probably faking it. But since it's a little, it's minor, it's probably natural. And when you do this, your actual voice will get deeper. Trust me, believe it or not, it will. Right? And I'm gonna throw in a few more points for you. Is to always keep your voice relaxed. Right? Because I'm putting zero strain into my voice right now. Like, this is the calmest I could be, right? And already it's so much more deeper. So much more deeper. However, if I put strain into my voice right now, the more strain I put on my voice, the higher it will be. However, if I talk like I've smoked ganja, if I talk like this, it's much more serene, right? It's much more slower. That's also a bonus point. Talk slowly. The slower you talk, the more seriously you get taken. Even when you talk this slow, right? It's more attractive. However, if I talk this fast, it's difficult to keep my voice, deep. And if I were to talk as fast as I can, this is what it would sound like. You'd probably be like, oh, someone abusing me, what I can do. And you can't really understand what I'm talking right now, Of course, you can understand what I'm talking right now, but you can't really comprehend it. And when you can't comprehend stuff, you're probably going to ignore it. And when you ignore it, I feel bad. And when I feel bad, I'm going to be less confident. And when I feel less confident, I'm going to be less attractive. There's a secret behind it. So talk slowly, down talk, deep talk. And don't put a lot of strain on your voice. And keep smiling. Stay flexy, stay happy.